What's up, y'all, and welcome into the Jack Vita and Brooke Struck Show.
Good morning, everyone.
Great to be back, Brooke. Today we are going to discuss the 11th episode of Deal or No Deal Island. This is crazy. So much to cover. How are you doing?
Good. I'm getting excited for the finale. We're one away. It's crazy. And I think the question is, are you tenacious?
I think I am. I think I could say yes, I am. Are you?
Very much so. It comes with a career being an attorney. So, and I feel like being in like journalism, it's the same thing. To get the story, you got to be tenacious.
Yeah, you got to be aggressive. You just got to keep going after it, trying to find not just stories but jobs too. That's the other thing.
Yes. Anyone's looking for an excellent sports writer, plug. Jack's your man.
Thank you, Brooke. So today we're going to recap the 11th episode, Are You Tenacious? Very good, Brooke. Reminding me the name of the episode. I always forget. Okay, so today we're going to recap that. We've got 2 interviews this week. So no exit interview because no one was eliminated. So next we've got Jamil and Kim are going to join me, and then Miranda and Claudia. So we're going to get Claudia's thoughts on everything. So those are each going to be about an hour long, in depth, just breaking everything down, talking to Deal or No Deal Island and getting some fun stories and memories, a peek behind the curtain. And then next week, we'll have our final recap for this season, and I will have interviews with each of the members of the Final Four. So, we got a lot coming out here on this channel, so make sure you guys are all subscribed to the Jack Vita Show here on YouTube, and then you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Today, we've got a great guest joining us. Brooke, who are we talking to today?
From Survivor Guatemala, Survivor Palau, some other seasons that aren't as good as those ones, is Stephenie LaGrossa.
Hey, guys. Hi, Brooke. How are you?
It's been so long since we hung out in the jungle.
So long. It has been like 20 years, over 20 years.
It's so crazy when you think about how many years it's been. Because in some ways it feels like, maybe a couple years ago.
Yeah. No. And I just saw Danny recently. I was away.
Saw that.
Yeah. So this is like, whoa. I mean, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen her. I mean, I see you guys on social media and I hear through the grapevine things about you guys, aka Jack, but I haven't seen you guys.
Yeah.
You look exactly the same.
Oh, thanks. I know you as well. Just a little cleaner.
Yeah. We're not as dirty. We're not as thin, maybe. That's all right. This is a normal, healthy weight.
Yes. So,
yes, Steph, you've gotten all the mini Guatemala reunions in like the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Literally.
Because Brandon, right? You saw him.
He looks exactly the same too. He flew there on his plane. I was like, wait a minute. I thought you were a farmer. Now you're a pilot? What's happening?
Wow, he's come a long way. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, but when Brandon came on our season of Survivor, he had never seen the ocean before. So it was so fun when we went to Costa Rica for all of us rejects that got voted out early, and to watch him go in the ocean for the first time was crazy. So crazy.
I love the reject trip. I got rejected in Villains Heroes, and we went to Heroes Villains, and we went to Fiji, and it was amazing.
Oh my gosh,
best time.
Yeah, we had so much fun, so many fun stories, so many crazy stories. So it was great. It was a good runner-up prize.
Yes. No, it's amazing. Everything's on Uncle Mark Burnett. It's a nice little expense-paid trip. Yeah, he's so sweet. I loved seeing him. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and Danny. Danny looks exactly the same too.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
I'm like, what the heck? Well, you guys are doing a great job covering this season. I have to say. I have been listening, and I'm loving all the exit interviews and hearing the inside scoop from all the contestants that come off. Oh my gosh, so much drama. And I'm dying for the end because I've been following this very closely. I don't get to watch it every Monday night. Sometimes I watch it on Tuesday or Wednesday, thanks to Peacock, but oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, at the end of this episode, my son and I both stood up and screamed, no.
Literally, I text Jack and I'm like, seriously, they're going to end it like that? Seriously? He's like, I know.
Yeah. That's how you get everyone to watch the finale.
Smart. Smart. It's so good. I cannot believe Rob is still in there. I'm so glad he's still in there.
Yeah.
I really think he really is good. I don't know how you guys feel about him. But
we're Rob fans.
Yeah.
We like Rob. He's earned it. I mean, he's made some, like, he just had some crazy last minute plays, plans, all that. And he's
really
great
has.
TV too. So
it's great TV. It is a little bit of luck, like the luck of the draw, but he's really made some awesome moves.
Yeah.
In this game, and aligning with Aaron from the beginning, like he knew what he was doing.
No,
I really think that was a genuine like friendship and relationship that they formed and bond. So
yeah,
two Boston boys, like it was really sweet to watch. I think.
Well, the fun
is that
fact
me or
about
you?
that...
Probably.
I thought I turned mine off.
Oh, this is so fun to have you guys together because Stephenie and I, we did all the trader stuff, and now Brooke's doing the Deal or No Deal Island stuff. I want to ask you before we dive into everything with this episode, Steph, thoughts on this show as a whole, and then I'm also curious, does it remind you more of Snake in the Grass or Traders?
Oh, geez. Wow, that's a good question. So the show in general is awesome. Like I used to watch Deal or No Deal when it was on. Like I loved that. We watched that. My parents watched it. My niece was like one of the case models at one point on the show. So, and by the way, I think the banker is the old host. What's his name?
Howie.
I think it's Howie Mandel. I'm going to say that right now. And I have not read any spoilers on that, but when he walked up last night and his arm was down, his hand, there's something about his hand. I saw his hand and his shoes. I think it's Howie. But, it kind of reminds me of Snake in the Grass, where you're still living out in the elements, kind of like Survivor, but they give you food, which they gave us food on Snake in the Grass, but it was off camera, like theirs is catered, and they have those nice tents. We did have a tent, and then they gave us sleeping bags, and they gave us like wipes to like wipe our faces off, and we had like a little bit of sunblock or makeup or whatever you wanted to put on. Traders, totally separate. I mean, you're fully in a comfortable bed every night, full showers, although they have showers out there too. And then I'm guessing like they're totally separate games, all of them. Snake in the Grass, I was the snake, so I was trying to blow all the challenges and make them believe I wasn't the snake. And then like blow the challenges without them noticing and acting like I was trying to win the challenge. And then Traders, you're trying to catch liars. And this, you're not really trying to catch liars. You got to make alliances, but at the same time, you have to either beat the banker or, I mean, I guess you just have to beat the banker. If you want to be in control, if you're not in control with the numbers, you want to be in the lowest to beat the banker. So it's kind of like Survivor, really, as far as like a numbers game. What do you think, Brooke?
Yeah, no, I think it's got, it's like a cross of Survivor and Deal or No Deal. And so, but a more plush version of Survivor.
Way more plush. So it is like Snake in the Grass in that way, because they did feed us. We didn't shower.
Yeah.
It was 3 days, and we were in Costa Rica in the jungle. And then 3 days was one episode. It was just one episode. Yeah, this looks like I could do this show because of the showering. Although I wonder how long they were gone for. Because with kids, bro, it's hard to be.
Yeah, no, I know. That's the part that's tricky. What'd you say, Jack?
I had heard 3-ish weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
So 3 weeks of filming. So that's 21 days. So then you're basically gone for almost 30 days with travel front and back end. So you're gone a month.
Yeah.
So for somebody single like Jack, that works out. But for somebody with 3 kids like us,
yeah,
and you work and you're a busy mom, it's hard to get away.
Yeah.
Like, Rob has 4 girls and they all had kids. The one girl, Stephenie, has like 4 kids.
You always think about that because it's hard to just walk away from your life, especially like how do you get your employer to let you go if you're not self-employed? Like,
yeah,
a lot.
And then they're not contacting home. So what if your kids are like little and you want to know if you're alive, or they're kind of like, where'd mom go or where'd dad go?
Yeah.
There's a lot involved there. Stephenie's kids, what ages are they? Do you know? She talks about them.
Oldest is 25. I think it's like she's got one that's 25.
So they're big.
She had one when she was 16, I want to say.
So her kids are older.
Yeah, her kid. I think her youngest is probably like 12 to 14-ish.
Okay.
Range. So like her youngest is like the oldest for you guys.
And then nothing against Rob, but again, the dad being gone versus the mom being gone, it's a lot different. You know, like if my husband were to leave for 21 days, it would be a little easier on my kids than if I were to leave for 21 days. You know, they still have Amber, their mom, at home. So, you know what I mean? Would that be the same for you? Yeah,
there's just a different emotional component to it for kids.
That's what it is.
So
like, I don't know that I would want my mom gone on an island for 30 days, you know, 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah, I think like my 14-year-old would think it was cool and want me to go, but it would be hard while I was gone. And then like, oh my gosh, my 10-year-old son would not have
That's what I think of my 10 and 5-year-old. Even my 12-year-old, like she kind of likes me around. Like dad's great and dad's helpful and all that, but mom pulls it all together. Make sure like the meals are there and the homework gets done and the things get cleaned.
So when I was 10, if you had said, hey, mom's going to be gone for 30 days, I'd be like, awesome, this is going to be so much fun. And then after a few days, I'd be like, I really need my mom.
So wait, do you guys want to hear a funny story about traders? So same thing, because I'm the stricter one, my husband's like the nice one, anything goes. It's like order out the worst food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, who cares? I'm like, no, here's your broccoli, eat a little of that, you're not having any ice cream, whatever. So it was fine when I left. They were like, bye, have fun, mom. Good luck. Call us. Let us know. After about a week, they're like, we miss mom. Like they were like, I mean, the laundry was at an all-time high. It was like washed and cleaned, but not like folded and put away. Yeah. I mean, it literally looked like, I don't even know, a storm of laundry in the house, walls covered. And then I came home and it was the first morning of breakfast and they're like, and I'm making eggs. And they're like, wait, where's the Chick-fil-A? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean Chick-fil-A? And they're like, daddy orders us Chick-fil-A every morning for breakfast. I'm like,
busted.
Not anymore, you don't. And how's your like heart problem that you're going to have in 5 seconds? Like, seriously? So they missed me so much and they were so glad I was back. And then they realized they couldn't get Chick-fil-A for breakfast. So they were like, when is your next show, mom?
How long were you gone?
So I went to 9 of 10 episodes. So I wasn't gone. So I was gone. It was about 20 days too. But then I got COVID and I couldn't come home. I couldn't get out of Scotland. They wouldn't let me come back. I know. So it was a nightmare. And I had already had COVID. I already had the vaccination. I already had the whole freaking thing to travel. And I still got COVID, like went through the cast.
Yeah.
And you can test positive for a long time. Like I was like, okay, I'm not sitting in this hotel room anymore. Like I like saw Sari, who won, walk to the airport. I was like, oh, she's going home before me? Like, what the hell? I was pissed. But yeah, so I was gone about 30 days because then I finally started testing negative, and you had to test negative for two days straight.
Jeez, that's
I know. So, and they tested us every other day. They're like, okay, COVID. And I'm like, come on, someone's bound to test positive. Can we stop testing us, please?
I was going to say, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and I think 4 of us got COVID. 4, maybe 5. Yeah. I think Andy ended up staying longer than me. Poor thing.
Andy, you, Amanda, someone who was supposed to be there, who got pulled from the show. Those are the ones that I know of. And
Alan had this horrible cough and cold. And then I started getting it. And then when I tested positive, I'm like, oh yeah, he's got what I got.
He sounds just like me. He's got it.
Yeah. I'm like, we definitely have the same thing, but I'm not going to say anything because the show would crumble without Alan.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this week's episode. And we got to just lead with Boston Rob. Obviously, this is a headline. What do we think about this whole breach of the rules? Because here's the thing, okay? It's really interesting because on Survivor, they have gotten a little more loose with some of this stuff where they have.
Well, we used to be able to cheat.
Yeah,
I could cheat.
Yes, every time. Every time everybody looks at the other person's puzzle once it's complete.
Right. So what do they have going on? Yeah.
It's covering the course in Survivor.
Right. So. I really don't think he was listening to the rules because he's smart enough to know. I thought they were going to remove him from the show. I was like, oh my gosh. The fact that they just gave him a 3-minute penalty, that sucked, but he was lucky because I thought he was going to be like, nope, you're out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
And I know production gets furious when that stuff happens because it screws up the whole thing, and they have to figure out how do we work around this? Does it do you have to refilm the whole thing and redo
the whole episode?
what do you do? It's crazy. And I'm with you, Stephenie, like, because there's no way that he would have known about it and thought he could get away with it, because
he was blatantly obvious. He was like this, like he walked over to the table.
Yeah.
So I really think he was only, when he said I was half listening because he was looking for clues or whatnot, I think he was half listening.
Yeah. Or he just, or went in one ear and out the other, and his like doing Survivor so much kicked in, and he just did what he wanted. You know, when you're under that pressure and stress and stuff. But I couldn't believe it happened. I was like,
after all this, he's come so far. I mean, most of them have hated him and wanted to get rid of him, and now he's going to go out like this. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I think he pulls it off at the end. I think he ends up beating, what's her name? Poor thing. Amy. Because she's so winded and so...
She had such a head start, and poor thing, like climbing those hurdles, like she was at such a disadvantage. Like she had to work 10 times harder than anyone else out there.
She really was. And you hear her say, like, you can't go under them. You have to go over them. So she must have tried to go under because she's so little.
Yeah.
And they must have said, like, nope, got to go over.
Yep.
That's brutal. Crazy. I do think Rob, even though he's older and he's not in the best shape he used to be in, I think he ends up beating her.
Yeah.
After that huge lead she has. But thank God he didn't get like kicked off. Totally.
Yeah. No, he still gets to compete. So that was lucky.
But how about that? What a great learning moment, and the way he handles it for like his children and just for children in general and people watching. I thought he handled it because some people could have got really hot-headed about it and really pissed off and been like, you know what, like flipped out, you know?
Yeah.
And he handled it really well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he said you make a mistake, you own it, and just move on. So
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that in Survivor, they've gotten really loose on this. And I don't think there's been, like, I think what kind of happens, and you guys could speak to this more than I can, but I think early on they were kind of stricter with a lot of rules and stuff like that. And then I think they started kind of letting them, like, it's like in a basketball game where you let them play and you're not going to blow the whistle, and you let
over every little thing,
see what you can get away with and dare them to call a foul type of thing. And then I think what ended up happening, like, it was clearly explicit here, and I think Rob basically was daring to have the foul called on him regardless of if he was listening to that or not. Like, ethically, it's a this is a smart move in terms of I can cut a corner here. But, like, admittedly, as a viewer, like, that's something that's annoyed me on Survivor. It's like, I want them to actually solve the puzzle. I don't want them to just copy. So I was pretty surprised, to tell the truth, that Rob sort of, for lack of a better word, resorted to that, because
I know he was so close, he seemed.
Yeah, he was one away, I think.
He was doing the math, like, and he's a math guy, so...
Puzzles are his bread and butter. Like, this is right in his wheelhouse.
Right.
So I was a little surprised.
I think he panicked.
He just did it so quickly because, that was the thing that shocked me the most.
I think he panicked because I think he thought he had it, and then when she just got it, he was like, oh, I'm just going to... I don't even think he thought about it, honestly, because I'm telling you, if he knew that would have put him at a disadvantage, a severe disadvantage, he would not have done that. He's too smart.
No.
Yeah. So I do think it was an honest mistake. It was like a stupid mistake, but I think he battles back and rallies and pulls through.
So why do you think that, Steph? Just because he's Rob?
I just think Amy is just totally winded, and you can see on the end, of course, it could be editing. She just looks like she's like done. Like she physically cannot get to the end.
Yeah, it seems like they're close enough in that final stretch that Rob could take her. Yeah, but I thought what was interesting at the start of the episode, where they're talking to each person about why they want to win, and you get this emotional plea from Amy about like what this could do for her husband and for her kids and for her family. And you see her in the maze, just like, for my kids, for my kids, for my family, like, and just trying to like talk herself, keep going and do that. And then it was interesting, Rob, when they interviewed him, he's like, this is about pride. This is about winning and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that motivation, but it is one where I'm always like, I want Amy to win. She's doing it for her
Of course. But how about she's like, I swear to God, this is my favorite line of the whole show. I swear to God on my kids and my husband. And I don't do that to anybody. I don't take this off, whatever. And then she lies to him in the maze, and we're going to the final two. Then she lies to him in the maze, and then he's like, she swore to God on her kids. Newsflash, kids, she doesn't care about you.
I know. It was so funny. Yeah. Don't swear on your kids.
Continue your thought about swearing on children, which you are experienced in.
Yeah. So I swore on my children on Snake in the Grass, but my fingers were crossed behind my back. But Amy also swore. I'm not faulting her for swearing. This is not what it's about. Because you do this. People do this in game shows. But she swore on her children, and Rob's line about to her children, and she sweared on you. And sorry to break it to you, however he worded it, it was so, I actually laughed out loud. He was like, she just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids.
I was like, he did not just say that. He really is funny, some of the things he comes up with.
So Steph, Amy actually posted in a Facebook group. She issued a statement here on this. She wanted to clear this up, so I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Let me clear this up. I told Rob if I had any control over who goes home, I would keep him final two. That's what I swore on my kids about and meant it. It comes down to him or I. There's no way for me to guarantee he makes it because the last one out of the maze is automatically eliminated. At this point, it's him or I that are eliminated immediately. So before you all start calling me all types of names again, there's the facts. Did anyone see Rob have to look at my answer to stay in the game? Winky faces. So.
Oh, that's funny. See, but the thing is, like, why even have to defend yourself? Do you know how many people used to talk smack about me and hate me and say, I never made a statement? I didn't care. I read it and I laughed at them.
Yeah.
Why she defended herself? She played the game. Like, who cares what they say? Amy, who cares what they say? You lie to people in these games. That's what people do. It's not a big deal. But I do understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
But she don't have to prove it. She don't have to defend herself.
Yeah, no, it's hard. Well, and that's what's funny. So at the start of the game, when Amy's saying her stuff about why she's there and Rob's saying why he's there. And then Rob says what was the comment about? Like, Amy's still playing with crayons and glue sticks. She blows with the wind. Amy's not done some quality thinking over here or whatever. She said something like that. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm with you, Stephanie. It's playing the game. People trash talk. You just do stuff like that. But what's sad is people have come down really hard on Amy for calling, wasn't it Rob and Aaron she called Dumb and Dumber? Was that? Yeah. So she took so much flack for that. And then I was like, what Rob said about Amy was actually much more of a personal attack to Amy. And fine, it's the game. But I don't think he's getting the flack that Amy got. So anyway.
Yeah, and the other thing that's funny is
and that was funny. That comment.
The whole last week on Facebook. But he meant like
she's a novice to these shows and he's like an expert, right? Yeah. I think that's what he meant by her still playing with, Yeah.
The whole thing on Facebook all last week was people were writing all over these Facebook groups and in the comments, like, I guarantee it was Stephanie or Amy that broke the rules. They're such a disgrace. They're horrible, blah, 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 blah. And then Rob breaks the rule. And if you look at the thing and everyone's like, oh, I feel bad for Rob. He didn't know, like... So it's just, I think the thing is like the fan base is primarily Rob fans. So unfortunately, some of the people have been taken. And I agree with you though, Steph. Like, you do have to have thick skin if you're going to go on these shows.
Yeah. She can't be defending when people call her out. Like, but she doesn't. You can be upset about it. You know, I was upset. People said stuff, but don't say anything back because what's it going to do? It's not going to change their mind. It's going to make her feel better. But she knows the truth. She knows what she meant by swearing on her children. I swore on my children in Snake in the Grass that I wasn't the snake because Suri knows me, you know? And if they get a clue about me, it's game over for Stephanie because Suri's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know all of her siblings' names. I know where she's from, whatever. So, you know, you have to do what you have to do to get people to kind of believe you in certain situations. But I don't know. I just think it makes Amy look a little more guilty when she's not guilty of anything. No. She chose to swear on her children or whatever to have Rob believe that if she had the chance, she would go to the final two with them. Leave it at that. Yeah. But there's a double standard for men versus women in a lot of these shows. And Trishelle touched on it. Like, Trishelle got a lot of flack when she won Traders, you know, and what's his name? Did not get anything. CT. What's his name? CT. Did not get as much. So, or any. You know, she was like the BITCH and CT was like the mastermind. And she's like, we played a very similar game. We were together basically the whole time.
Right.
So, but Rob is loved. Rob's been in reality TV for over 20 years. So fan base is deep and he's got a big fan base. And these girls are new to reality TV. When Rob was first on, he was loved and he was hated by many. So he's had to pay his dues along the way also.
I think that's
kind of what you sign up for, right?
Yeah, that's the
Rob,
thing.
you're not watching this show. Like, this show is like Rob fans. Like, the people who hate Rob are like, oh, screw that. I'm not going to watch that. So that's kind of what we're seeing with all that.
So they're Rob fans.
To your point, the Night Owls Alliance, like, there is hate towards Nick and Dawson, but it's nothing like what the women are experiencing.
Right.
So you're 100% right.
And
Brooke,
Stephenie has been in so many arguments with Rob, and he's made some really valid points and caught her in some lies, and he's been pretty honest and played a pretty true game to Aaron, right? So that's made her look a little bad. So she's gotten a lot of flack for that, but she's playing a hard game. I mean, she's doing what she needs to do to persevere.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So you got to give credit to her too.
Yeah.
So I got to ask Brooke now. I want, Brooke, your opinion on, do you think Rob stays or Amy stays?
The edit makes it look like Rob stays in the final racing moments. So, but the way that they kind of talked Amy up and like kind of the underdog story, I'm going to go with Amy. Stephenie's looking. And Stephenie thinks Rob.
Well, I would love for Rob to still be in it. I don't even whether he wins or not. Mm-hmm. But usually when the edit goes that way, where they make it look like it's Rob, then it's usually like not. So
I think Rob's out. And the reason I think Rob's out is because I think they want Rob in the finale. Why is this a cliffhanger if we're having this episode like why not have the heroic moment of seeing Rob pass Amy and then we're all like, woo, Rob did it. Instead, it's like just going to be this moment of the last person out of the maze. And I think they're afraid that if Rob's out, they're going to lose a big chunk of the audience for the finale.
Yeah, people are going to stop watching.
Yeah.
I fear for Rob.
That makes sense.
In that way, yeah. And they could have edited it like he was a lot closer to Amy than he was. Yeah. You know, editing's a beautiful thing.
I hate to say this, but if you look, this is another thing I have to bring up because of the comments and the social media chatter and all this stuff. If you watch the promo for the season, they show Amy running out of the maze and like the other two.
Oh, they do?
Oh.
Yeah, but it also comes down who has the lowest case. Oh, he'd be the last one out, so he'd definitely be
there's two out, lowest case and that. So.
Oh my God.
And then they show another shot.
And then I had a weird thought. I'm so bad with names. What's the other girl? Not Stephenie, not Amy.
Jordan.
I have a feeling she like wins it all.
I know she's looking good to win it. Yeah. But right now it's going to be random. I mean, one person's out because they didn't make it out of the maze, and it is just a coin toss because they all grab from the highest cases. Like there's nothing. It's now the next person that goes out it's dumb luck. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just who pulled the wrong case.
Right.
The other spoiler is it shows the banker's temple where they're like, hey, let's find out who the banker is. And you see a group of people sitting down. And it's all the eliminated people and Rob. So it's like Dawson, Miranda, Jamil.
Oh, so they all have to stay
Kim.
too.
Like they're all sitting there. So it looks like they're going to bring everybody back like they would for the Survivor jury. So they're all going to be there. And Rob's sitting there clapping. So like if Rob is facing the banker, I mean, I guess that means
but you don't see Amy or Jordan or Stephenie.
You only see part of them. You don't see Aaron. I don't think you see Alyssa, but you do see Rob and everyone else there is for certain eliminated. So I think if the final person against the banker is going to be standing up there or at least sitting in a different section than with everybody. So they spoiled their own show, and they did this with Traders too, Steph. Remember when we had that cliffhanger, and we're like, was it Phaedra or Peter? And in the promo, they showed Phaedra jumping and doing that water challenge, and that water challenge hadn't aired yet. So editors, get a little tighter with this.
I was gonna say that seems sloppy that they do that. I've seen that before in like Bachelor and Bachelorette. Sometimes they'll do that where you see future things. You're like, well, that person made it, but
that's why Survivor is the guru. I mean, they do not like their production is tight. They do not really slip up. They're really good.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, Bachelor, they don't even care because Reality Steve's going to spoil it. And they're just like, they don't even care that Reality Steve spoils it. They're just like, okay, cool. This will make people interested.
And it's a dating show anyway. So.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, that is so funny. No, I didn't even look into any of that because I'm like watching as a fan, hopeful that Rob at least goes far.
What a sad, I mean, and then the other piece that I took as a clue was Rob seemed really sad in those confessionals that he was doing.
He did. Like really
he was
bummed
very
that.
Emotional.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's probably out, guys. That's
looking that way.
Oh,
he made it to the final episode. So
no. And the chances of you winning it all in the end are like so up to luck. You know?
Well, and to Brooke's point, I feel like if he doesn't win, obviously it stinks for Rob, and it also stinks for Rob fans. But if you're just kind of making the show, if you're the showrunners, you're like, this is a really great outcome because we got a whole season of Rob, and realistically, like these other three people could really probably use this life-changing sum of money more than he could.
Right. But how much money do you think Rob's made over the years? I mean, he doesn't really think about that.
$2 million from Survivor, two different,
which is $1 million after taxes. Come on, let's go. Get ahead. He's got 4 kids. He lives in Florida in a nice part, but he probably lives a normal lifestyle, nothing lavish. And he doesn't really work a 9 to 5. So I think his only income is like when he does reality shows. And
yeah, and I'm like, how much can you make off of that? Anyway, if you're not winning. If you're winning, that's a little bit different of a story.
Right,
But the appearance fees, and he's got the celebrity renovation show.
What appearances? He doesn't do any appearances.
No, for these shows.
Yeah, the competition appearance fees.
That's sometimes all you win. So say you got 100,000 to show up, you got 60 after taxes.
Yeah,
that's 60,000 is not a lot of money these days to live on a year's salary. I don't know many people with full families that live off $60,000.
Yeah, and not doing if you're only, I mean, that's even doing it once a year.
Yeah, and his wife works, but she works for the school, I think. So, you know, school teachers, what they make.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Florida too.
So now I could see if he like won millions before, you know, or does this, you know, like the challenge people, they do it like what, twice a year, and they apparently make really good money, you know. And you don't know what these other people do for a living. You don't know what their husbands do. I bet they make a couple 100,000 a year. They probably make more than Rob. I'm not kidding you.
Fair point.
Yeah,
I do. I think about that because you don't know what Amy's husband does.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
All right. What else are we thinking about the episode, Brooke? What's in your notes?
I didn't take any notes this time.
I was just, you know what? I was impressed with Amy on the game that she was the first one to get that amount right. That's one where I was like, oh, I would have hated to have that.
I would have been terrible.
To go back every single one and go, how many, you know? And she had said, she goes, I was paying attention along this whole time, thinking in advance of games like that, challenges like that coming up. And so, you know, I think she deserves to make it out of the maze with how well she did on the puzzle and how much of a handicap she had over everybody else.
She did. And, you know, Stephenie cracked me up. She's like, okay, math is not my strong port, and carrying the one and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, and then it comes to a map. She's like, come on, I use GPS. I don't use math. I was like, wow, we do have something in common here, because that would be me. Like, I'm okay with math, but maps, forget it. Like, I'm always lost. I'm always like, to put the GPS. I can't even get into the Instagram and the app stuff. Fancy. No,
No, that was my favorite quote. Actually, I'm glad you said that. When she goes, she's following Jordan, and she goes, I use GPS, and then she goes JPS. She's using
Jordan is my GPS. JPS. Yes. That was good too.
Yeah,
Jordan did so good. She must be in really good shape.
I can't imagine doing that in the heat down there too. And I liked how Joe's like, "Welcome to the giant creepy maze," and that thing was.
You guys need to ask whoever you have on from that, ask them how long that challenge actually was. Because I bet that was not a short challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm curious, like if it was like an hour, 2 hours, like I would guess that it was.
So it ends up only being a 3-minute penalty. So that's where you would think that if it's a really long thing, Rob would be able to catch up. But if Rob is not able to catch up, then I'm thinking maybe it was a little shorter than we thought.
I wonder. 3 minutes is a long time in the scheme of things.
Yeah, but if it's like an hour, that's...
Yeah.
You can make up 3 minutes in an hour.
So this is filmed where? South America somewhere?
Panama.
Oh, this is in Panama? It's hot.
Yeah, this was in September, October, I believe.
Oh, yeah, pretty humid too.
Oh.
So you mentioned the banker, Steph.
Howie Mandel.
Obviously Howie Mandel. Like it's so obviously Howie. And I just think it's really funny that they're really trying to make this like a selling point. Like, who's the banker? There's even a quote in here of Jordan, like, I've always wondered when I've watched Deal or No Deal, who is the banker? Who's the banker? Admittedly, as a fan of Deal or No Deal, I never was like, who's the banker? I'm just like, oh, it's just a computer. There's some producer.
Right.
Like,
that's what I
just think it's funny that they're like,
I didn't even think it was like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it really is. I think they've now put an identity to the banker for this shtick, for this show.
Yes. But I love Joe, the host. I think he's fantastic. He does a great job as a host. He's never hosted before, right?
No, he's super witty and like his comments and stuff.
He's
like
sharp.
He's really funny I've enjoyed it. I think he's really like, because this is new, this is the first season, and I feel like they nailed it on having him be the one to kind of launch this. Like,
they really did. They really did. So you guys think this is going to go on for a while? This show?
Yeah.
I hope so. I've liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah, my parents are watching it. And it's on national TV where it's not just streaming. Like my parents, it's hard for them to watch Traders because they don't have Peacock. So unless they're over here and then forget about trying to give a 78-year-old person a login and trying to get them to log in, forget it.
Yeah.
So, like it's, just like Survivor. It's right on, the TV, and it's easy for the older people to watch.
It's true. It makes all the difference if it's on like a national network and things.
It does. So the ratings have been good?
So we haven't gotten an update on the ratings. Like, I haven't actively sought them out. I got a press release after episode 4 that through those first 4 episodes, they had 24 million viewers across all platforms. So that includes Peacock and network television. The fact that I haven't gotten any updates on that makes me think that it's not quite as great as it was doing. I had heard that perhaps after Kim went, some of the viewership went down a little bit because it helped to have someone who was like antagonizing Rob. There's a source of conflict, and then I think that was gone for a little bit. But now you're kind of getting that back up with Stephenie. So I don't know. I think the show's doing overall like it's doing really well. So like it might not be doing 6 million a week, but it's still doing very, very well. They've put out stuff. They want people to apply for season 2. It hasn't been officially renewed. The only thing that I wonder is how often they're going to be able to, like, how much money they have to give out. Like,
I wonder that too.
Rob the banker this time, and they're like, okay, we can't do season 2 because they took $8 million from me.
Seriously.
Season 2 depends on how much someone wins in season 1. If they win too much, that's the end of the game.
Right. They're going to have to wait a couple years to replenish.
Yes. Someone should mention to Mark Burnett that other games are upping how much the winnings are. And so Survivor, after, what's it been, 25 years now?
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, like, that's $1 million they give away twice a year. Because they film twice a year Survivor.
Yeah.
$2 million a year. Are they really making that back? I guess they are. In viewership?
I think I think they're not hurting.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, think about it compared to other TV shows where you have to hire a team of writers and actors, and how much,
True.
like those, like Seinfeld and Friends,
Yeah.
how much those people
Yeah.
are making per episode.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that was a different era. More people were watching TV, but
Yeah.
these shows are really a lot cheaper to make, and that's why.
I know,
you know,
Survivor's a
they give-
huge production. I mean, there's like 200 people on that crew,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Yeah.
It was intense.
But you only have like Jeff Probst being paid top dollar. And then
Right.
you've got other people that are more
True.
behind the scenes. But there is no, and I think they've saved money now that they've holed up in Fiji. Now that they don't have to try and negotiate contracts
That's right.
with their countries.
They have
They don't have to
weeks
lug all the
left, so-
challenge stuff.
Yeah.
They only film like 26 days instead of 39, so that's 2
Oh,
weeks
yeah,
less
that's
of
saving you a bunch of
filming. So
money.
like they
So-
found a lot of ways that they can save money and people keep watching. Yes, Steph?
I have to admit, I have not watched at all, hardly, like since Heroes Villains. I'm not even kidding you. Like I've watched here and there, like one episode, whatever. I don't know who any of these people are. There's like spoilers for this Survivor 50 coming out. There's like things people are sending me. I'm on it. I'm like, I have no idea who any of these people are at all. I don't know what's going on in that game. You can go out, you can come back in. There's like 40,000 idols. I'm like, not only could I never do it again because I'm old, but I would look like a fool. I would be like, wait, what happened now? You get to come back? I get to come back? What are you talking about? I mean, I would have to, it's hard enough to watch Deal or No Deal every week. I would have to watch all those. Do you watch, Brooke? I don't even watch.
No, I watched 40. And then I think 40
I need to watch 40. I didn't even watch 40 with Danny.
40 was so good.
Here's my
40.
problem.
Yeah.
I don't have Paramount Plus. So I'm like, where do you go to watch? And they're like, Paramount Plus. So I was trying to log in the other night and we have it. And I'm like, Kyle, reset the password. So we click like, he's like, I didn't get the email. So we can't even reset our password. I literally don't have Paramount Plus.
Steph,
I'm like,
I'll help you on that. That seems like a Jack project.
It's
Yes.
literally, I'm like, can't this be on Peacock? I have that one.
Yeah. But I have fallen off when I've like, there's so many weird twists, challenges. Like you find an idol, but you can no longer vote until someone else, stands on their head at a challenge, like just bizarre things. So I kind of lost it on that.
That's
Brooke
what I
has
mean. It's
to
like
run
too much.
here in a
Can't we go
second.
back to the old ways and just,
Yeah.
There was like one idol the whole time hidden. You find it.
So Brooke
you don't
has
use
to
it that
run here in a
day. You
second.
wait.
Yep.
Sorry, Steph. Brooke's got to run here, but before she goes, you and I
Okay.
we can do a couple extra minutes after Brooke runs. But
Okay.
Brooke, can you tell Steph a little bit about your run-in with Jamie from Survivor Guatemala? Because I feel like that would be a funny.
Jamie.
Oh gosh, Jamie, I have a lot of Jamie stories. I mean, well, when I got voted off, I'm sure you don't remember, but it was one where at tribal council, Jamie started bad mouthing me. He's like, Brooke acts so smart and talks and uses all these big words and blah, blah. And I was sitting there, I was like, what's he talking about? Like I collected firewood with Jamie. Like I just met him because the tribe shuffled. I was like, I have no idea what's happening. And then Jeff went to count the votes and Jamie leans over and he goes, hey, I just made that stuff up because it makes for good TV, right? And I'm sitting there. And of course, this is my first time doing Survivor. So I'm sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said all this stuff. Then everybody's going to watch the show and think I'm this horrible, like snotty person that went to law school and thinks I'm better than everybody else. I was like devastated because already I'm like, shoot, I'm getting blindsided and kicked off. And then now it has to go down like this. So it sucked. Well, finally, when the episode aired, that totally did not make it on TV because none of that happened. So there was no back to it. So it never made it on TV. But all that said, Jamie was not my favorite person after that.
Right.
So then, I don't know if you've hung out with Jamie at all outside. Jamie's crazy. Like he's nuts.
Well, he was crazy on the show and he was in our alliance, but then he tried to come after me early.
Yeah. No, Jamie's a little unhinged.
I can't remember.
And
even
so
all of it.
when
He's friended me recently, I think. Did he get married and go into the military?
Oh, did he? I haven't looked
He
at his
friended me on
Facebook.
and wrote me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have 3 Facebooks. I can't even keep up with social media. I'm terrible.
No, I just have Facebook and that's it. And I don't stay on top of stuff. But anyway, so then I went to a charity event in Florida, the Discovery Beach thing they used to do. And KJ, we were or maybe we were engaged then. KJ came with me. KJ's like 6'8". And anyway, we are there at this bar. Everybody's been drinking. It's late. It's like midnight and it turns to like July 30th. Well, Sandra and I share the same birthday, July 30th. So someone brings out a cake and is like holding it in front of Sandra and I. So KJ's standing there to take a photo and Jamie jumps in front and goes, blah. And KJ's like, dude, move. And Jamie's like, nah, no, take the picture. And Sandra and I are like awkwardly holding the cake. And KJ, my husband's funny. He goes, click, I took the photo. And so Jamie knew he didn't. So then Jamie kind of swatted at KJ and like almost hit him in the nuts. And I'm just standing here holding a cake going, oh my gosh. Like, is my like soon to be husband going to get in a bar fight with Jamie? And KJ's 6'8" and pretty built. I was like, this is going to be bad. So KJ goes, I had two thoughts run through my mind. He goes, I wanted to like headbutt Jamie and just knock him to the ground right there. But he goes, one, my husband was a pastor at the time. He's like, I'm a pastor. I really shouldn't do that. And then he goes, two, there was like the bouncer standing at the door. So we let it go. But we're like, that's the kind of stuff where Jamie does. Well, so then I did a charity event in Maine where it was with Bob from.
And that was how many years ago?
It's probably like 8 years ago. And so anyway, we didn't know what other survivors were going to be on there. There was like 6 of us playing against a bunch of like, fans that wanted to play against survivors. So anyway, we get there and I'm like in this boat blindfolded. And it turns out of all like 400 some survivors at the time, Jamie does it. And I was like, oh, for heaven's sake. Our first night there in the woods, Jamie's just talking a mile a minute. And Joel from the first season was like, is he for real? And I'm like, yes, this is Jamie. Jamie loses his pants in the woods, can't find his pants. And Joel's like, this has got to be made up. I'm like, no, this is Jamie. He's wonderfully entertaining. But after that, Jamie was like, he's like, Brooke, you're so tough. You did amazing out there. And he sends these like messages to me on Facebook sometime where he's like, you and your husband, you're so hot. I love you guys. He's crazy. I like Jamie.
He was crazy on the show, but honestly, like that's such a blur to me because I did back-to-back seasons and mentally I was not ready. Like I was not ready to go back out there. So I just kind of like, I don't even know. I really need to rewatch that season. But I remember thinking he was crazy. Like I remember being like, God, he's friggin', because he was like really hyper and like, but he was in with Judd and I liked Judd because he was from the Northeast. He reminded me of like, from where I'm from. Oh my gosh, none of that surprises me. But he did friend me on one of these social media outlets somewhere, Jamie Newton, and I was like, Jamie Newton.
He's super entertaining. Like he's hilarious to
But
talk.
he was like in a beret, like he was like in full uniform, and I was like, oh, he must have like went into the military, and I was like, good for him.
Yeah,
there's somebody like him probably needs the military.
No, I was gonna say it'd be good for him to have some structure and stuff like that.
Yes.
So. Anyway,
and then I thought he got married or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, no. Brian from our season's about the only one that I like regularly stay in touch with.
Brian, I remember Brian. I loved him. Yeah, he lived in New York, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I need to rewatch that season. That's like a blur.
I did that COVID with my kids. That was when they watched the season.
So I did too. But it was more the kids were watching it, and I was like making them food, like kind of like I didn't sit.
Yeah.
One interrupted because they were younger then, even younger. Like the 5-year-old was 3, 10-year-old was 8.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the last one. So, well, thanks so much, you guys. That was really fun to get to see you.
That was fun. It was nice
Winner
to see you and catch up with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Winner picks. I think I'm going to go with Jordan.
Gosh. I know I have this weird feeling it's Jordan too. But my hope is Rob.
Yeah. We want a survivor to win.
I know. Well, it's been so long and he's done so well.
Yeah.
He's overcome so many odds. So
yeah. Yep.
He should have been out
been
there.
Friends with him for like 20 years too.
And I mean, I know Rob. I never was really good friends with him except after Heroes Villains. We did like one event and then I reconnected with him 2 years ago in Florida and I got to know him a little better. But even Heroes Villains, we were like on totally different tribes. So I never really got to like know him. But I was a huge fan of him before I was on. Like I loved watching him on Survivor, which is one of the reasons I applied. So I've always been a Rob fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Aw.
Stephenie
I'm
also,
hoping.
by the way, like, I got to give Stephenie credit because we're talking about like all this Survivor trivia and there's a lot that she hasn't watched. But like when she went on, that when they were doing the Pringles and they had all the trivia questions, when you guys had the jellyfish reward,
Because I
Stephenie knew
watched it
all the
then.
Wow,
answers, all
yeah.
the trivia, because she was a huge, huge fan.
But I was a huge fan, which is really the only reason I ever applied. You know, I graduated, I worked for a year, I saved money, and then I was like, I'm going to apply. Like, I didn't, and
Yeah.
like, to my surprise, being such a fan of the show, all through high school, we had Survivor night. We watched it every, it was
Yeah.
on Thursdays then. So yeah, I was a fan of the show. Like, I did it because for the love of the show, not to be on TV, not to try to be famous, none of that.
I love
You know?
those stories.
So I do want to watch it again. I just need to, I'm going to carve out the time and watch it because I want to watch 40.
Yeah,
At
start
least
with
that's
40. It was good.
Yeah.
And
So now-
it's fun because like, that's why I love it. I'm like, I know everybody on here. I've met
Right.
everyone. You know what they're
Right.
like. So that part's really fun.
Yeah. So like, even when I was on Heroes Villains, like a lot of these people I did not watch because after Guatemala, I was kind of like mad at the show. I was like,
Yeah.
this is like too much Survivor, 2 back to back. I'm done.
Yeah.
Moving on, So then I was like, I have these freaking people are.
Yeah.
All right, well, Brooke really's got to run now. So, Brooke,
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a
thank
couple
you.
minutes.
We'll
too.
talk next week.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
finish up
I
for
can't
me.
wait to see
All right.
the finale. Okay, Brooke. So nice
Thanks,
to talk to
guys.
you.
Yeah.
See ya,
Good to
Brooke.
chat. Bye.
All right, Steph, you got any other thoughts on the show? You've been enjoying it? Any other
I
takes?
really love the show. I can't believe how much I like it. It's really good. And of course, being a huge Rob fan from many years ago, even before I ever met him, when we were on together for Heroes Villains, I am so proud of him because he's older now and it's been 20 something years and he's probably just doing it to prove to himself and prove to his young kids, like, I can still do this. And even if he doesn't win, it's okay because he's really lasted a long time and he's been a huge threat. They've tried every angle to get him out. He's made some really good moves and he's great TV. He's really funny. I really do like Jordan. She's starting to really grow on me. So of the 3 that are left, and nothing against Stephenie or Amy, they've all got a great story. They all deserve the money. I don't know. I'm hoping if Rob doesn't win, I hope it's Jordan.
I think Jordan. I think Jordan will win based off of like the editing because I think the Night Owls have gotten kind of like the villainous edit. We see the edit where they're sitting around and like Jordan's talking about all they do is talk crap about people. I'm not for that. So like that's the moment where you're supposed to root for Jordan and not root
and
for
Jordan's been so sweet and like true and real like the whole time. And she kind of came into that Night Owl alliance at the very end. In fact, when she and Stephenie kind of aligned, I was hopeful that she would like align with Rob and jump ship, but I don't know.
I think she is working with Rob. It seems like it. I think she was playing both sides. Honestly,
she was.
I think she's played the best game because she has not once had to face the banker. There's not a moment where anyone's talked about getting rid of her. I think that's how you want to play this show moving forward. You want to keep a low profile. Rob could not do that because of his stature. He played the heck out of the game, did the best he could, won a ton of competitions. So,
and I mean, Rob played the best he could with the hand he was dealt. I mean, he had a huge freaking target on his back from day one, and I know what that's like. I mean, I've been there. So, he did amazing. I mean, Rob's a smart guy. He's actually really smart. So, but you're right. Like, how cool would that be if Jordan like hasn't faced the banker yet, and then finally she faces the banker at the very end for the win? I mean, what a story that would be, right? Kind of like Suri winning the first Traders, and she's a trader the whole time, not recruited, like she was it from the beginning. It makes the show really a great show, unedited.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. I think none of the 3 of us, you, me, Brooke, none of us watch Survivor anymore. I think we're kind of hungry for some freshness. Like, we love Traders. We love this. Like, we want to see some new shows. And this show's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. I really need to get back to Survivor just to watch and really give it my honest opinion. I hear all the outsider views. It sucks. It's not the same. It's to this. It's to that. There's so much negative that surrounds the show. And it's just been an easy excuse for me not to watch it because I do have 3 kids that I'm so busy with that when I have a chance to watch TV, I'm watching the traders that I missed. I'm watching Deal or No Deal, or whatever else is out there, if I'm watching anything at all. So I am going to give Survivor another chance to check it out and be a judge of myself, for myself. I think.
Stephenie,
if I can get Peacock working. Paramount.
I'll help you out with that. So Stephenie is on Instagram. She's at Steph LaGrossa, or Steph_LaGrossa_ Kendrick. You can also find her on Twitter. Stephenie LaGrossa 38 is the Twitter. And you want to talk about the cruise at all or anything else?
Yeah, I have multiple Facebook pages. My newest Facebook page is the Stephenie LaGrossa Cruise of Deception page. A little less than a year from now, next April, we are actually doing a really cool, first time ever done before, cruise on Royal Caribbean Oasis of the Seas. And it's myself and a bunch of fellow people that were on the Traders season 1 and 2. And it's an actual game of the Traders. You sign up to be on each of our teams and you can win, and you do challenges every day and you can vote people out every day. There's banishments and murders, and you can win up to $50,000. And the game's only about 2 to 3 hours a day. And the rest of the time we actually just hang out and we're on a cruise and we're basically on vacation. So that is next April. It was sold out once. They added more staterooms to each of the celebrities on the cruise. So if you want to come cruise with us on the Royal Caribbean next April, you should secure your stateroom. Go to cruiseofdeception.com for it. So that's going to be actually really fun. I'm excited to meet in person Trishelle and Peter and Bergie and the people, because I was a huge fan of season 2. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
It's well documented.
It was so good, and it's well documented. Yes, I did love it.
Rob for season 3. Let's go. We want to see it.
If Rob doesn't win Deal or No Deal, he's definitely going on the Traders. That's my prediction.
We got to see it.
He would be great on there. He would be really good. And I bet he'd be a faithful and not a traitor, because it'd be too obvious, and he would get those freaking traitors. He'd be
an easy person for them to pin and say he's a traitor, we shouldn't trust him.
Right.
So I would love it if they cast a lot more people like Rob, so that way it's not just easy to look at Dan,
well, they would have to.
Rob or Janelle or whomever it is and just say, oh, well, they could be a traitor, let's get them out.
Yeah.
So if you had a whole cast of Rob and Russell and Fairplay, all these people.
Right. You had a bunch of them. You can't just pin it on Rob. That's what they'll have to do. It's going to get better every season. So I'm sure that's what they'll do. All right, Jack, let me run.
Steph, thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to chatting in the near future, I'm sure.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I can't wait till the finale.
Well, folks, that concludes our conversation today with Brooke and Stephenie recapping the 11th episode of Deal or No Deal Island. We're loving this show. It's hard to believe there's only 1 week left, but we're going to have you covered throughout the finale. So later this week, we've got 2 episodes, 2 interviews. One will be with Kim and Jamil, who were out early in the season. It's the first time we've had Jamil on. We didn't do an exit interview with him, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be an hour long. Kim actually targeted Jamil instead of Aaron, because she said at the time Jamil was Rob's right-hand man. So she saw him as a threat. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to get their thoughts on this penultimate episode. And then later in the week, we'll have an interview with Claudia as she joins the Deal or No Deal Island Insiders with Miranda and myself. I talked to Claudia almost 2 months ago for the exit interview, but today we'll get a chance to, or this week we'll get a chance to dive a little deeper, talk about her experience, get her thoughts on the season and the show, her life, all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys aren't going to want to miss out on that. And then next week we'll have another recap and then exit interviews with all of the top 4. And we might be able to get long form interviews. At the very least, we will have one with the winner. I can promise you that. And hopefully we can get them for the remaining members of the Final 4 as well. All right, so if you guys don't want to miss any of that, make sure you guys are all subscribed to the Jack Vita Show here on YouTube. About 80% of you guys who watch these are not subscribed, so go ahead and hit subscribe, and you won't miss out on any of the stuff that we have coming up the pipeline very soon. You can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you just want the audio of the podcast. Hit the like button here on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Next week, love to read your comments for the finale. That'd be a lot of fun. If you comment on this video, any questions or thoughts, we'll read those next week. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, you can follow me on social media at Jack Vita Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Jack Vita, bringing the dancing lobsters.